Welcome back to another Just Me podcast session. Today we are joined by the amazing Sean Taylor. Sean, tell us about who you are and what do you do?
Okay, Pnawnda, everyone. I'm having this conversation 300 meters from where I went to school,
Oh yeah.
and it's kind of gone round in a circle. Went to school, not the most academic pupil ever, I suppose. Went to work for my father's lumberjack business, joined the Marines, had an amazing 20 years in the Marines, did some personal security stuff, pretty exciting. Back to North Wales, and here I am back in an office 300 meters away from the school. So, in a very privileged position to have a job that in my community where I grew up in, and being able to, bit like if you knew where I live, it's like a bond sort of layer with my, instead of a white cat, I've got a brown dog, and I can stroke the dog and think of what I'm going to do next for
Yeah.
world domination and adventure tourism.
So tell us, what does Zip World do? How did it start? Because it's a great
Uh,
story.
okay, I'd finished in the security industry, call it what you want, bodyguarding, and I realised I wanted to come back to the Conwy Valley. There's a word in Welsh called hiraeth. It doesn't really pronounce very well into English, but it's a long in to come back to where you grew up.
Mm.
So I moved back then, and in 2007, I basically spoke to, has become a really good friend of mine, David Wynne Finch from the Voilis estate, who's had a woodland between Llanrwst and Metsacoid and called it Tree Top Adventure. I started with there was absolutely nothing there. In fact, there was a gate, and you could park maybe two or three cars, and it was for dog walkers. So we basically cut some trees down to create a car park, and then no electric, no water, absolutely no power. So we had a shipping container, a mobile office, and a chemical toilet. This is in 2007, and we started in April, and by beginning to the mid-May, the chemical toilet was getting smelly, which was a great sign that people
Yeah.
were. It was a smell of success. People then were coming to the site, and then we in 2009 we put the Treetop Lodge there, which we still got, and then we just kind of built that and built that. That was Treetop Adventure, and then in 2012 we no 2011 started Zitworld and in Bethesda, and that pioneering stuff. We don't really didn't really know what we were doing. We just had this vision to myself and a partner called Nick Moriarty. What we didn't know then was we created the fastest zip line in the world. But more importantly now, it's the most commercial zip line in the world. We
Wow.
put full riders, we call them, down a zip line every 3 minutes.
Wow.
Um, so it started with one wire, then two wires, and then when we had two wires and we got our PR and marketing right, we were starting at 20 past 6 in the morning, and the last people coming off at 9:30, quarter to 10, in June, July, August. So we doubled the zip lines, and obviously still got long hours, but we put twice as many people through. Then we've added to that, and we've got now the Air Explorer, quarry carts. We have, hopefully this summer we're going to put the biggest swing in the world, which is really really exciting. Planning permitted, always that caveat. That was 2013. 14, we went underground because not a lot of people know this, but it rains every now and again in Blind Festiniog. So let's create something underground, and we this is where Bounce Below came in. Still very popular. And then we had that was in 2014. Then we did Titan, which is a little bit different to Velocity, where you sit down. I think it's equally exciting. And then 2015, we put Zitwell Caverns, which is still our most challenging experience mentally and physically. Then we rebranded in 2016. It was Zitwell Forest. We put the coaster in. So we kept on adding these world class experiences, but in iconic places. And then in 2018, we realised we needed to give some crumbs off our plate, and we went down to South Wales and down to Tower Colliery, which is exactly the same scenario as,
Mm.
instead of Slate, it's Cull, and
Mm.
it's an amazing site down there. Great people. I really enjoy going down there. And then we did an acquisition. We bought Treetop Trek in Brockhall, which is the Lake District Visitor Centre on Lake Windermere. That came with a site in Manchester, in Heaton Park, largest municipal park in Europe. And it just goes on, and we keep on adding. I think last 2 weeks ago we opened in Zitwell, London,
Mm.
which is the orbital in Olympic Park.
Mm.
That's phase one. Phase two, we got planning to put a big zip line. So basically, you asked me a question, and I've gone off piece a bit. So we do world class experiences in iconic settings,
Lovely.
and then we market that, and hopefully lots of people come to us. and everyone does well, including the local community.
Mm.
2018, we did our second economic impact assessment. Petrol stations, restaurants, cafes, hotels. People have spent £960 million in our local
Wow.
communities since we started, which makes me very humble and makes me very proud.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
that goes with a caveat. I mean, there is a caveat here that unfortunately, it's living locally in the community. It's a tough gig sometimes because there's certain elements of the community. What the Romans done for us? What has Ditwell
Mm.
done for
Mm.
us? And it's generally from a certain section of the population, and it does get a bit tiresome. Maybe you might consider our secondary spend as what people, with our it could be fencers, fabricators, where we get our food from, all local, and then
Mm.
the jobs we create. And high on the high tide mark, which is June, July, August, we're employing just short of 1,000 people now.
No.
That includes the hotel. We bought a hotel up in Capacerrig.
Mm.
We've got accommodation now in Betsacoid. Other accommodation just about going up to the Tinnacoid in Capacerrig again, which are lodges. So yeah, lots going on.
And what have you learnt along the way then? I mean, go back to kind of like, 300 meters or 300 yards up the road from school to where you are now.
Lots of things. Well, part of I think my success as Zipworld is surrounding myself still do, with people who can do something better than I can. So I think
Brilliant.
95% of people in Zipworld at the moment would do a better job than I could. So my job is gluing everyone together, having initial ideas. I'm famously, my attention to detail is notoriously poor. So I basically have the grand vision, and I get these amazing people who make it work,
That's
put it together for me.
and going back to that, people who've helped you. So what and who have really helped you along the way? I mean,
So
because you're not talking, I mean, it's not just at World, it's your entire career going from school to now.
yeah, I mean, the my father gave me a great kind of a great induction, if you like, in work hard, play hard, and have a
Mm.
great work ethic. Because when we were lumberjacking, if we didn't go out in all weathers, we didn't earn any money. So
Wow.
work hard. They played rugby, and I was up in the hills, did a lot of fell running. At a younger stage, playing Germans and commandos in the gorges, and I became a commando, which is a bit ironic. Then joining the Marines and having the special qualities you get, which is
Mm.
determination, loyalty, integrity. Humor in the face of adversity, which you need a lot of, determination, willpower, and you need that. You need that in business. Um, there's Ronnie Barker from Porridge. I always remember what he used to say, and I think about this every morning. Don't let the so and so's get you down. And you need that because you can be challenged. I'd hate to think that I'd hate to try and start a business now as a young person. The hurdles that you go through obviously planning, statutory things you need. Then you've got highways, and you've got employment law, um, websites, online booking systems, cyber security. There's literally hundreds of things that you need to get over to be successful, but you need to be tenacious and be resilient.
That's
So there's that, and then you've got to trust ask people what they think and trust their judgment, and they're not just yes people. So I've learned that in the past.
That's lovely. So, what obstacles have you really kind of encountered that have both kind of hindered you, but also helped you? I mean, obviously the
Um,
Marines I get, but
yeah, I mean, coming into business, initially it helped being local. It shouldn't do,
okay.
but it did. It helped being local. Now being local is it's challenging. Whether it's from local councillors, expectations from local people. Um, and
Mm.
I live in a bubble. I don't quite realize until I maybe go on holiday, come back, which does happen very often. But we are a fairly big business now in Wales, and we're still very non-corporate, quite a humble business. And so everyone's got an opinion about Zitworld, and this is why sometimes people are really having a go at you. You can't really answer them back on social media because you just give them oxygen. So you just bite your tongue and just crack on.
Brilliant, brilliant. And so how do you keep going when things get tough? Do you go back to that kind of marine training about being resilience and
Yeah, I mean, one of the things everywhere when you've done, Royal Marine Commander training 30 weeks, it's 34 weeks now. But for me, there was everyone had different reasons why they were doing it or why they wouldn't give up. And mine was a fear of failure, and I've still got that. I
really.
didn't want to be that young lad coming back into Llanrwst and people saying, that was the guy who tried to get in the Marines.
Wow.
Um, and he should have joined, just kept in with the Welsh Guards or something like that. I've still got that fear of failure.
Have you?
Yeah, and I'm still incredibly competitive in the right, and I'm competitive internally and externally. I want the best. I want the best, I want the best for people, but I want the best for the business as well.
Mm.
Um, I want we are market leaders in lots of things, I pinch myself sometimes. We've got the Adventure Booking Centre, the ABC upstairs in Llanrwst. We take bookings from the Lake District, Manchester, London,
Wow.
South Wales, as in for those sites that are
Yeah.
there. We get to take bookings from all over the world, and seeing how people have grown. I've got people, Rich Manchett, for example, who came to us as an instructor back in 2012, I think it was. He'd moved up from London. He had a dry cleaning business, been to Plaza Brennan, and now he is probably my most experienced operator. Been promoted, runs our flagship site. Got a guy called Wes who's now head of brand. And Wes started, and he's been continuing, and now he's taking a head of brand, but also doing a lot of the commercial side of things. And he's grown massively, and it gives me great pleasure. And the list goes on and on and on.
Mm.
Chloe Thomas,
Mm.
young girl, know her dad, started up in Llechwedd. Now she is the site manager in Llechwedd. So she would have been a young lady that probably, if she would have stayed she wouldn't have stayed as an instructor because her aspirations were greater than that. She'd have moved to a city. She'd have moved to Manchester. She'll now hopefully she'll keep on her upward trajectory in Zitwald, and she'll have a long career in Zitwald, probably past what I'm going to stay in Zitwald for.
Don't you ever sort of sit back and just get that real proud moment of what you've achieved? Because it's pretty remarkable, Sean.
No, I don't.
Don't you?
Basically, that's time when you're on your rocking chair with your cigar. Not at all. I'm the opposite. I keep on looking forward.
Do you?
Uh, Keep on looking forward. I mean, we've don't know when the listeners listen to this, if they're we just done
Mm.
a fairly big, well publicized. It was in the Sunday Times, fairly big transaction. 100 million plus. The noughts become meaningless in the end, and I'm not being blasé about that. It's just the way it is. I'm still the scruffiest guy in the room, um, and people all thought, oh, there's going to be huge change. It's nothing. I get up and I'm exactly the same. I'm driven the same. All right, I'm not the majority shareholder anymore, the minority. It doesn't matter. It's my behaviour is exactly the same, and I'm just as passionate about the business now as I was back in 2007.
How lovely is that? And if you could go back to your younger self, the lad up the road, what advice would you give yourself?
I would have, and it's always easy going back. I'd have probably have looked at my shareholders agreement differently in the beginning.
Would you?
But to be fair, people look at your shareholder agreement if your relationships aren't, if the business isn't doing very well or the business is doing really well. I was fortunate, and maybe I'd have done things a bit different. Sometimes I'm still, some great people have left Zitworld, and I think maybe we could have tried, and both parties could have tried a bit harder, and maybe a lack of communication, and they would have stayed. Some people that have stayed too long in Zitworld, and they
Mm.
should have left earlier. They damaged the business.
Mm.
These are things, but it's a huge learning curve, and I'm still learning every day. I learn, and I do reflect what could I've done differently all the time. And this is where, I mean, I want to get better every day. I
Mm.
want the team to get better every day. I want everyone to have a good quality of life as well. Work hard, play hard.
Brilliant. And what advice would you give to others?
Basically, what suggest is, if you're going into business, you've got to love that business. If you
Yeah.
want to do it 9 to 5, just don't bother. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to have to make sacrifices, with your time. If you've got a family, the family have got to accept that. So you've really got to go for it, and which I've done. Now I've got it completely wrong all the way through. My work-life balance is completely askew. I don't go on holiday very often. I'm trying to go on holiday a bit more now. My only release from Zit World is family, my dog, and rugby.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm a president of my local rugby club, and that's my, I get away on Saturday. I tend to go and see the lads. I've just come back from a free 4 day, well, sorry, 4 day marathon, a Guinness marathon in Ireland.
Have you?
We go every year. We have such a laugh, 26 of us, and yeah, it's great fun. But going back to your question, so you've got to live it, breathe it.
Mm.
In the beginning, get some advice, get 5, 6 people you respect, throw your idea, see what they say, and then do a Brian Clough and completely ignore them and do what you're going to do anyway. but but I there's 3 traits I believe in which is essential in business. One is judgment.
Yeah.
And this is what I look at in my leaders, in my managers. Judgment. How do you get judgment? You get judgment through knowledge. And once you've got that knowledge, you make sound judgments, and then it's basically on instinct. And
Brilliant.
instinct means you make great decisions without even thinking about it.
Brilliant.
So we've got site managers now. We've on every site, and it's in the Marines we call it mission command, and they were tasked. It's the commander's intent. It sounds very military. So, it's the exec want this to happen. Says, right, A, can you do it? Yes, we can. Right.
Mm.
How much money do you need? How much time do you need? What resources do you need? When will you finish? Yeah. You need to be in time, in budget, and be safe.
Brilliant.
And they do that, come in time. Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Excellent. Now, sometimes you will have mistakes on the way,
Mm.
and I'll always accept a mistake. Be honest about it, stick your hand up, because if you're not honest, we can't find out where that mistake has come from, and one day it could be life threatening. So have the integrity to stick your hand up and say, I've made a mistake, and we'll go back and we'll fix it. But
Mm.
this is to avoid micromanaging, you know, and there has been micromanaging as it will in the past because the trust level hasn't been there, and that's what we're trying to build is trust
Mm.
from on different levels. And
Mm.
I'm passionate about challenge. I still doesn't happen enough, but I want to get challenged.
Mm.
So challenge goes both ways, and
Brilliant.
I want to hear what the gripes are with. I can go back then to ops or the CEO. Andrew Hudson's my CEO, great guy, and then I've got Carl Schmidt, South African lad, who is the ops director. And then I've got Matt Britton, who is CFO, Chief Financial Officer. So I can come back and say, guys, we'll have an exec every Monday afternoon. Says, I was on the weekend, and listen, I'll give you a great example. I came back in not last weekend, the weekend before, up at 1,600 feet, up in Penryn Quarry. A couple of team members I met, new guys, one girl, one girl, one guy, and I was going, where's your mountain equipment puffer jacket? Oh, I haven't been issued one. Well, okay, fair enough. Then I come down here and I see people in finance have got puffer jackets. 50 feet in an office in Llanrwst, 50 feet above sea level in an office in Llanrwst. I'm going, that's as guys, get this. We need to look after our people up at
Mm.
the top with the right clothing,
Mm.
because if they're not having a good time, my customer's not having a good time, and also it's a safe health and safety breach.
Mm.
But I'll only get that. I need to go out and see what's going on and feel the temperature in the business, and I'm
That's
pretty good at that. I can tell if the morale's up or down, if there's issues, and generally, the busier they are, the better it is. The team are buzzing, the customers are buzzing, and it's a great atmosphere.
love that. And what legacy would you like to leave behind,
Wow, that's a
Siggy?
yeah. I've done my little bit for my community, but it's. I don't think I'm going to be up there on lights, and no one's going to remember me with a statue or anything like that. I help my rugby club out because I can. There's some big news coming out soon about what I'm going to do. There's something I'm going to do in Llanrwst for the
Mm.
rugby club. But these are things I'm a fortunate enough in a position financially to do this, and I can do it. And but I don't want any recognition for it.
Mm.
It's just something I'm in a privileged position to be able to do.
If you could go back to your days in the Marines or being at school, could you have ever envisaged that you would be doing something like this?
No, but rarely people. I mean, unless you start as a politician's aide and
Yeah.
you want to be the
Yeah.
prime minister, there's probably there. But no, when I was in the Marines or on bodyguard, I just knew, I left the Marines on a on a Friday morning from the Commando Training Centre down in Livingston, and I was in Kabul on the Sunday. I'd done a terrible job of preparing myself to leave the Marines. So you go back to what you know, as an unarmed combat instructor or a sniper or a parachute instructor. There's not a lot of jobs in Civvy Street. I mean, an non-combat instructor there is actually on it used to be a Friday night in Llanrwst. It was getting quite fun, but so and then I had a bit more time then, and in and out of Iraq and Afghanistan to make a plan, and then I thought, right, I'll try this. No one's doing this, and the reason I looked at it in Snowdonia was, and you'll relate to this, Ed, in the early 2000s ish, or even before that, 1980s,
Mm,
90s, wherever, to come into Snowdonia to have a good time. It was all skill based. You had to have, unless you want to go walking, you
mm,
have to have a canoe, a
mm,
rope.
mm,
You'd need to know what you're doing unless you were going to kill yourself. And
mm,
there was very horse riding maybe, but there was very
mm,
other things apart from the traditional
mm,
adventure training pursuits. So I kind of had this idea to open adventure out to the masses. And in our leisure business, you've either got a high footfall with a low price, or a high price, low footfall. And we've got an extremely high footfall with a fairly high price.
brilliant.
We'll put 800,000 riders through annually, and people pay it, and they come back, and they would get rave trip advisor. They'll on high peak, £120 a go down. Is it Will Velocity? That's £480 every 3 minutes. Now,
Mm,
obviously, we've got trucks to maintain, we've got
mm,
instructors and all
mm,
the rest of it,
mm.
but commercially, it works.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And what's the magic that Sean Taylor brings to things? What's your kind of magic sauce?
I think the magic sauce goes back to creating that, having the vision of creating a world-class experience in iconic settings, and then
Brilliant.
having those people around you that are so positive, enthusiastic, who will then give the customer a great time. So one of the things I've learned, and funny enough, last time I met you were there.
Mm,
So we
mm,
were in Zitworld Conway, which is in
mm,
Dolgarrog.
mm,
Great facility. However, that facility could be anywhere. It could be on a car park in Birmingham, which Merlin did have one. They've shut down. It could be in Oxford. It could be London. There was no differentiator there.
mm,
It was on a B road,
mm,
and people would come into Snowdonia. But
mm,
why would they go there when they could have done that? Get it? There was a local market there, but we live in a quite a sparse population.
mm.
So I learned that I've learned that's a learning curve again, and to say reaffirm what we're about, which is world class experiences and iconic site. So the experience in Dolgarrog was good. It wasn't world class because they're doing it elsewhere,
Yes.
and that's the magic that we create. So we're
Yeah.
looking at things now in the Lake District, the Peak District. We're looking at things in Devon. I'm looking at things in Ireland, looking at things in Switzerland, a few sites in America.
Wow. And what's your fizzy pop moment? What makes you really kind of like come alive? Is it that you go to Bethesda or wherever you go and you see all this stuff happening and you think, wow, that all
I'll
started from treetops
Yeah,
in
well,
Betis?
what makes my day is I'll see someone, a disabled person, going down that zip line. Could be an amputee, someone blind, and for that 65 seconds, they're getting exactly the same experience as an able-bodied person next to them. So that's hugely rewarding to me, to my team, and then the general people having a great time. They've traveled a long way, they spend a lot of money, but they're having a great time. So that's one, and the other one is watching my team grow. And then the third one is basically being able to support people in the local community, different tradespeople.
That's so lovely. What was that figure that you mentioned? Was it 960 million?
960 million. I can if you just email
Amazing.
me and I'll send you. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
an economic impact assessment, and there's science behind it. It's a lot. It's a Deloitte model,
It's brilliant.
and unfortunately, that's an inconvenient truth for some people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, 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 yeah. It
yeah,
is in many ways. And what one word did you use to describe yourself, Sean?
tenacious.
Tenacious, brilliant. And how does the rest of 2025 look for you?
Great. Last year was tough. I think
Was it?
everyone in the end, it was tough. It was a tough year. Everyone in our industry, tough, with lots of things, cost of living, energy prices, Ukraine, football. Football came at a bad time. All the rest, we had some bad weather. Obviously, change of government, elections. So we got now. I think it's high time now. Everyone have some fun, have some positivity. There's been such a lot of miserable news, whether it's Gaza, Ukraine, an orange guy in America,
Yeah.
Labour Party having a hard time. There's got to be some good news coming from somewhere, and hopefully, just get through this. I was in Ireland the other day, and it's completely different vibe out there. The people there are, they're in a good place. The economy's going really well. I just want people to have more money in their pocket to do what they want
Mm,
to do.
that's
You know.
really lovely. Sean Taylor, thank you very much indeed. It's been
Diolch
lovely
yn fawr.
to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Croeso.